Okay, and you consider humans and chimps to be the same kind?
I think by your own experiment, get a 5-year-old kid and show him a picture of a chimp, a human, an orangutan, and a wolf, and ask him which is not the same kind of animal. They're not going to pick the human.
Well,
They're
actually,
going to pick the wolf.
This has been done by missionaries in other countries who have no knowledge of our evolution system in America. And when they explain that in America, some people teach that the chimpanzees are related to the humans, the natives absolutely go laughing hysterically. But such a dumb, bizarre idea.
Well, you look
are you going to respond to my point, Kent?
In Indonesia, you just had, what was that guy's name that came in and spoke real quick? If I can jump off on a tangent for a second.
Oh, that was raised in Indonesia?
Yeah, he was saying in Indonesia, orangutan, we say orangutan over here, actually means the forest man.
Yeah, so, that's my point, is they're so similar to people that you could confuse them at a distance easily. And like I said, if you showed a 5-year-old kid that little picture, they're going to pick the wolf.
Well,
so your own criteria fails.
No, because there are more similarities between humans, chimpanzees, and orangutans than there are between humans and chimpanzees and wolves. I agree.
We have practically we have like the same number of bones in our skeleton arranged in the same way. We have the same basic layout. I mean, it's unbelievably similar.
Okay, now you know your ancestors better than I do, okay, but I am not related to chimpanzees or apes or orangutans.
There's over 150 million differences, too, between humans and apes. I mean,
besides the genome is so huge that just throwing out numbers like that is a really dishonest thing to do.
No, it's not dishonest. It's being completely honest. That's exactly
what it matches the mutation rates, Jonathan.
No, I don't think it does.
Okay, well,
that
why don't you look at how chromosome 2 on the human genome looks exactly as a fused version of 2P and 2Q on the
I completely understand that, and there's an exhaustive article written by, I believe, Whitcomb and Wieland on Genesis talking about that. Is it a fused chromosome or not?
It looks like it, man. If you look at
if it looks like it, then it must be, apparently. So,
I'm just saying, this is evidence. This is what evidence is. It's things that look like something.
No, I agree. If that is what you're looking for, then you can say this is evidence. Go ahead. But, however, that does not, saying it looks like it's fused does not necessarily mean it's fused. You know that.
Well, let me make a point here. It's compelling evidence to Jared because he wants to believe it's evidence. It's not compelling evidence to us because we don't want to believe that. Just like people who thought Michael Jackson was guilty, everything that happened, it looks like he's guilty. Other people said, no, it looks like he's not guilty.
Oh, okay. This gets to another question. We're hitting them all here. This gets to something I wanted to ask you. Kent, you think you're pretty smart, and you think that you're very capable of reasoning this stuff out. So let me ask you a question. This is a philosophical or mathematical kind of thing to do.
Is this about Michael Jackson?
Thank God it has nothing to do with Michael Jackson.
Okay. All right,
I don't want to think about that guy. That made me sick when I heard the news. If evolution were true, can you consider the possibility?
Okay, if you have to define what you mean by evolution, but
biological evolution,
again,
not including abiogenesis.
You'd still have to define that, because if you mean microevolution, I would concede it is true.
Macroevolution.
Okay, if macroevolution was true, go ahead.
Single cell to human over 3 billion years, whatever.
All right.
Okay, that part of the theory. Okay, if it were true, what kind of evidence would you expect to be gatherable?
First, I think we would find enormous fossil evidence because you would see these things slowly transforming. Two, I think we would find living intermediate links. There are none. I mean, why isn't it happening now? Why don't we see something half human, half ape today? So I would want to see something. I would want to observe it happening.
What you mean, like a chimp?
A half human, half chimp. Where are they?
Humans and chimps and humans. Okay, one did not come from the other. They have a common ancestor. You're not going to get a half human, half chimp. There's no such thing.
So where are they alive today that are half human, halfway evolved?
That's a good question, but that's not really answering my question.
Oh no, I did. You're asking me what evidence I would want to see.
Why would you expect that to be? I mean, part of the theory is that these populations kill each other and take over and blend in and things, and it covers up the tracks a little bit.
I know.
Sometimes you have these intermediate forms and stay alive, and sometimes you don't.
That's why I say it's a mean, ruthless theory that God wouldn't do something like that. So we don't have.
Besides that, though, what kind of evidence would you want to see?
I'm telling you, I would want to see something alive today that is halfway evolved.
Besides that, is there anything else you'd want to see?
Well, then I would want to find fossil evidence of something halfway evolved, but that would be much less compelling because, again, when you find fossils, you can't prove they had any children.
Okay.
Okay, so that is, I think, real weak evidence. So I think that that would be the only one that would be acceptable in a court of law, is to see something to see it happening live. Of course, would be ideal.
Well, that's impossible according to the theory, anyway.
No, it's not. It happened sometime.
No.
At some point in the past, there was something that was half bird, half reptile.
There are so many intermediate steps that there's no way you could do it like in a laboratory.
Well, why don't we see? I mean, it would take. Let's take the dinosaur to bird, which is what they teach. Okay.
Right.
There would have to be 20 bazillion changes.
It's not clear how many there'd be, but there's a lot. Yeah.
There's a lot in the skeleton, in the reproductive system, in the respiratory system, in the nervous system, in the brain.
And we find these intermediate forms in the fossil record.
You think there are intermediate forms?
Yeah, I've seen them. I've seen tons of photographs of fossils.
Of half dinosaur, half bird?
Yeah, basically. Yeah,
like, are you
theropods that are evolving into birds, yeah.
Are you talking about Archaeopteryx?
That and others. That's one of the earliest. But
okay. You realize Archaeopteryx has long been discredited.
No, you're wrong about that. And you're also wrong that it was only been found in Germany.
6 of them all found in the same place in Germany?
There's 7
No,
in
there was one found in Britain.
Oh, so 6 in Germany, 1 in Britain.
I'm not sure how many there were, but I'm just saying it wasn't just Germany.
Okay.
So fossil evidence and
I said fossil evidence would be real weak, way down the list for me. I want to see it happen. They
so
say
far,
it
you've only given me 2 things. Anything else?
Oh, I don't know of anything else that would be. You asked for compelling evidence. That would all.
Well, just evidence at all. Evidence.
That's all that could possibly work as evidence. I mean,
these are the only 2 things. You wouldn't want to think about genetic evidence?
No, because if you look at genetics, I mean, first of all, we don't understand near enough to even talk about it. The humankind has not studied genetics enough to be. This is still just a very new science. Okay.
It is new science, but we're making huge headway.
Sure, right, and I think it's wonderful, and we should. Okay, but there is so many interpretations of this data, like common ancestor or common creator,
There's pretty much only 2 interpretations.
Or common environment causing something to not survive, or certain gene combination survives better.
That's part of the evolutionary theory.
Pardon me?
That's part of the evolutionary theory.
Well, it's part of creation theory, too.
I guess.
Yeah, we all went through a worldwide flood, destroyed the planet, everything's different, and only certain things can survive now.
It's probably like, the evolutionists and creationists are in a smorgasbord, and we're both reaching for the same role there.
We got 4 minutes left, and I got 3 more answers I got to give out, so why don't you call in earlier tomorrow, Jared, and we'll talk about this. But, yeah, give me one of those evidences, and I'll consider it.
I already have.
You gave me an example of something alive today that shows this evolution?
No, not that. But actually, those things do exist in other branches of the tree of life besides humans. But that's a separate
But you
issue.
do agree that there's thousands of varieties of living things on the planet today.
Yeah.
And there are none that are in the process of evolution that could be documented.
Well, I think that all of them would be in the process of evolution.
But they all seem awfully well adapted for their environment as is. So
yeah, and that's what you would expect from the theory of evolution. That's the whole point. That's how it happens. When the environment changes, they change to adapt to the environment changing.
All right. Yeah, I know that's what you believe, and you're welcome to believe that.
Just one more question. There's no other type of evidence that you can think of that you would want to see if it were true.
I think if I wanted to believe it was true, I would accept anything as evidence.
No. If it were true, what would you expect?
I would expect to see it happening all the time.
It is happening.
It is happening.
At the rates at which we think it has happened in the past, it is happening now.
So there you go. Healing to your God of time. Okay.